Welcome into this edition of an Ask Anything mailbag, my favorite segment to do because nothing's off the limits, and any question that you have, get involved, use that hashtag Dolphins, and we will answer your questions. Super chat to jump the line. And let's kick it off with the one and only Gerald Stokes, a $20 super chat. And as we talked about time and time again, I completely agree with Gerald. That guy is one smart dude. 2 equals comeback player of the year. Yeah, he needs to be better, but beat the Chiefs and the noise goes away. I couldn't agree more. Adversity is an opportunity, and the Dolphins have faced their fair share of adversity. Some of it self-inflicted. The injuries not really in their control, but you stack it all up, and it's a lot of adversity that the Dolphins have faced. And because of that, it's an opportunity to silence the haters with a win against the Kansas City Chiefs on Wild Card weekend on the road, no less. So completely agree, Gerald. Let's see Tua and the rest of the Dolphins go out and do it. Chad Jones. All right, Chad Jones. There's none like him. Basically the founder of the Aqua Club legend. Chad Jones asked, do you think that coaches in college will leave even more now that players can opt out of bowl games? Chad, absolutely. I think if I had a 10-point PowerPoint slide, that would be on there. The transfer portal would be on there. NIL would be on there. The entire landscape of college athletics. And of course, this coming on the heels of all of the college coaching news, most recently with Nick Saban announcing his retirement. But all kinds of things are contributing to the turnover. And there's always been turnover in college football and college athletics. That's nothing new there. But you're seeing legendary coaches not want to be a part of really the circus that college football has become. The bowl games are part of it, and now with college football turning to a 12-team playoff, I think that will be good for the sport ultimately, but until the transfer portal rules are restructured and I shouldn't say until because I don't think NIL is going anywhere, but all of those components mean college coaches are no longer coaches, they're CEOs, and they have to find a way to manage the egos of these incoming student athletes and these incoming transfers and five-star recruits and this, that, and the other. And there's less and less time devoted to coaching, which 99% of coaches enjoy that part of the job. So, yes, I completely agree. With Ross loving Jim Harbaugh, do you think he might make a move at coach or GM? Very good question. So Stephen Ross, owner of the Miami Dolphins, also founder of the Ross Business School at the University of Michigan, does have connections with Jim Harbaugh, but I don't think Mike McDaniel is going anywhere, and I don't see Jim Harbaugh leaving Michigan unless it's for a prominent head coaching job, of which there are several available in the National Football League, Miami not being one of them. Now, Chris Grier at general manager, depending on who you ask, I think he's done a very good job. There's a lot of question marks into the offseason, such as players that need to be extended, as well as the salary cap deficit, which is a problem. The Dolphins have the second lowest cap space, so not great there, but that's why Chris Grier gets paid the big bucks, and so we'll see if he can earn his keep here in the offseason. But there are certainly important pending decisions to be made in the Miami Dolphins front office. This one from Patrick Starr. Dolphins choked away a Super Bowl. Needed home field advantage. Very depressing statement there, Patrick Starr. And it's not that I disagree with you entirely. Home field advantage would have been great, considering the Dolphins are 19-4 in their last 23 games at Hard Rock Stadium. But I think declaring... And you know what? Maybe the Dolphins do lose to Kansas City. I hope it doesn't happen. Then you can say, I told you so. But for right now, until that game's been played, it's the National Football League. It's any given Sunday. Or in this case, any given Saturday, because that's when the game is. But anybody can beat anybody. The Chiefs have been a shell of themselves on offense. Their defense has been really good. With the weather conditions, it might just be a slugfest with the first team that can muster up 17 points or a low-scoring affair like that to win. And I love the Dolphins' rushing attack. Raheem Mostert publicly said he loves playing in snow football. DeVante Hopkins just set the NFL record for yards per carry, and Jeff Wilson Jr. proven back in this league. I love the Dolphins' rushing attack, and in a game against Kansas City on a frozen field, maybe that's the difference. So I'm not ruling the Dolphins out, and again, you can come back and say, I told you so, if it doesn't go their way. but I don't want to go as far to say that they choked away a chance at the Super Bowl because they didn't get home field advantage. But let me know what you think. Predict it. How far do you think the Dolphins will go in the playoffs? Let me know in the comments. You think they beat the Chiefs, lose first round? And in the NFL, of course, they do reseed, so we're not sure who the Dolphins' opponent would be if they beat the Chiefs. But at the 6th seed, likely they won't play a home playoff game. But hey, Road Warriors, let's see it happen. All right, another one from Joshy _ Do you think because of the cold weather, the Chiefs receivers will drop passes and will get INTs? Very good point from Joshy here, and that's something I failed to mention, that the weather affects both teams. Both teams have to play in it. And you could say, yeah, Kansas City's used to it. But turn on the tape for the Kansas City Chiefs. Their receivers have been downright bad. Awful. Like I said, the offense has been a shell of itself. And I go back to, I know it's ancient history at this time, but the very first game of the season, Thursday Night Football, the Chiefs had a couple of costly drops, and one of them that led to a pick six. So, Joshy, I don't hate that take from you. And again, it's not just the first game of the season that we saw the shortcomings of the Chiefs wide receivers. It seems to be a repeated pattern of Kansas City this year. So that's why going back to the last question, I'm not ready to just declare this Dolphins wild card weekend a loss at Kansas City, because you got to go out and play the game. And yes, the Chiefs are the defending Super Bowl champions, but it's not like they're this immovable object that the Dolphins are running into or some kind of buzzsaw. They've shown their shortcomings. The Dolphins have shown their shortcomings. The Dolphins' offense has been electric at times. The Dolphins' defense has been really good at times. So, hey, if I haven't said it in enough ways yet, go out and play the game and let's see what happens. But, Josh, I think that's a good point. All right, want to thank today's sponsor of Dolphins Today, and that's Factor, America's #1 meal delivery service. As we turn the calendar into 2024, it's all about making choices that lead to success, and that's where Factor comes in. When I tell you about Factor, it doesn't get any more convenient than ready-to-eat meals delivered right to your door that take just 2 minutes to heat up and devour because they are delicious. The loaded bacon shredded chicken, one of my personal favorites. I also love the honey maple barbecue ground beef, but none of them beat the Chipotle pork chop. It is to die for, although the sun-dried tomato chicken might be number 2. But you get the idea. You simply open your door. The meals are there. They're delivered straight to your door. It takes 2 minutes to heat up, and then the cleanup is super easy as well. So it's a win-win-win all the way around, and that's the best kind. So don't wait. Head to factormeals.com/FinSchat50. Use code FinSchat50 to get 50% off. That's code FinSchat50 at factormeals.com/FinSchat50 for that 50% off. And what do I always tell you? We love you and we care about you here on Dolphins Today. So we're putting that link right in the chat. So all you have to do is click on that link. It's also going in the comments and the description of today's video. Factormeals.com/FinSchat50 to get 50% off. Sherry May, what exactly is AVG's injury? Andrew Van Ginkel, season came to an end, unfortunately. It's a good question. I've done some digging on this, and all I'm finding is it's a foot injury with a timetable. Because remember, initially he wasn't completely ruled out of the playoffs. I thought maybe he could make a return, but after further tests and an MRI and that sort of thing, it was pretty much declared that he's done for the rest of the playoffs. And other than a foot injury, unfortunately, I failed medical school, so I'm not a doctor. And I didn't go to medical school, but I wouldn't even begin to try to give you the medical, proper terminology. Sometimes, I'm just a football guy. I'm a football guy, and AVG is not available for the rest of the season with a foot injury, but let's hope it's not anything long-term. From Georgia State Roleplay VC only. I don't know what all that means, but if D-Hop is a free agent next year, do we pick him up? Monday Night Football a couple weeks ago against the Tennessee Titans, he certainly looked like he has a lot of gas left in the tank. In fact, he torched Xavien Howard. There is no other way to put it. But I'm not so sure with the Dolphins' cap space or lack thereof that they should be pursuing outside free agents. They should be more focused on signing some of our own. Connor Williams, Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, a couple that come to mind because they've proven it in a Dolphins uniform. Whereas an investment in a receiver who might have his days numbered on the gridiron, kind of on the back nine of his career, I'm not quite all in on that. That's not to take anything away from Hopkins, though. He's played pretty well this year, but I like our receiving core as it is. Scotty B, if Miami beats the Chiefs, we play the Ravens, or if Steelers win, Pittsburgh comes to Miami. That is correct. That being said, I don't think the Steelers have any chance. No, the Steelers are playing Buffalo, so that's not correct. The Steelers are playing Buffalo because Buffalo went ahead and got the number 2 seed. The Ravens have the bye, so the Dolphins, if they win, will likely play the Ravens unless, as you mentioned, the Steelers win. Then they'll. I get what you're saying. All right, so if the Steelers beat the Bills, then they play the Ravens. Yes. If the Dolphins win, then they would play the winner of that. If the Steelers win, then they would play the winner of that Houston-Cleveland game. But in all likelihood, the Dolphins, if they win, would play the Ravens, in my opinion. All right, from Chef Zhu, who could be the X factor in this game on offense and defense? Great question. Chef Zhu, because I love you and I care about you. You're a real one here on Dolphins Today. I'm going to give you the known X factor, and then I'm going to give you an underrated one. So buckle up for 4 right now. So 2 on offense, 2 on defense. My X factor on offense, it starts and ends with Tua Tagovailoa. He needs to be better, and he's shown he can be better. And I know the elements might not be what is the most fruitful for passing the ball, but having control, command, and leading the offense is the quarterback's number 1 job, whatever that looks like. It might not be airing it out, but Tua Tagovailoa. Now, underrated, under the radar, if you will, and maybe it's not totally under the radar, but I do expect Raheem Mostert to play, but I want De'Von Achane to show up the way he did in Week 3 against the Denver Broncos. His speed is unmatched, and Raheem Mostert very fast as well. But I think in a game like this with cold weather, if De'Von Achane can find a way to break one, points are going to be so hard to come by. And De'Von Achane, as that unexpected bolt of speed to beat everybody and provide some big plays for this offense, could be the difference. Now, on defense, I'm looking at Jalen Ramsey. He came in with a splash, 3 interceptions in his first 2 games. He was locking down wide receivers, but I think he even he would tell you he hasn't been really great as of late. And if he can pick off Patrick Mahomes, that just would provide so much for this defense. He's my known X factor. Under the radar, Duke Riley. Going to be playing a lot now that Jerome Baker is out. And Duke Riley played the last couple of games before Jerome Baker came back and was really good against the run, but struggled against the pass. And he's going to have to be better than what he was both on Sunday night against the Bills and in Week 17 against the Ravens. And having solid linebacker play will be so important in stopping this Chiefs defense. I want to know from you who will be an X factor against the Chiefs. Let me know in the comments, and you can take my approach, maybe an under-the-radar one and a known X factor. But either way, I want to hear from you down in the comments. All right. Couple more to get to here on Dolphins Today. Appreciate everybody's questions coming in. This from Dolphin. Where in the world are Tyndall or Smith? Yeah. Dolphin, ditto, brother or sister. You're exactly right. I'm wondering the same. Tyndall, the linebacker, hasn't played. Cam Smith, 2nd-round draft pick, cornerback, not ready. And there was a lot of, and credit to the Dolphins beat writers, they've asked about Cam Smith quite a bit. And Mike McDaniel had that quote a couple weeks ago that was basically like, we don't want him to have scar tissue, aka we don't want him to get burned a bunch and lose confidence. So just tells me he's not ready to play. And I mean, sometimes it is that simple. These guys just aren't ready to play. And you got to trust the coaching staff that's with these guys 24 hours a day, it seems like, that they know who's going to give them the best opportunity to win, and therefore they're going to put the best 11 on the field, and Tyndall and Cam Smith just haven't been them. And I hope you can hear it in my voice. I agree with you. I've asked the same questions, but just haven't seen them. And the only reasonable explanation I have is that they're just not ready to play. There's better options. All right, from Christine Wilkerson, the question coming in is Mike McDaniel too inexperienced for the playoffs? Fair question. And I'm trying to figure out a way not to hold his lack of experience as a head coach against him, because every head coach has their first, you always, at some point, you have to be a first-time head coach in the playoffs, and Mike McDaniel went through that last year. So as the old cliche goes, let's hope he learns the most from year 1 to year 2. That year 1, that first game last year, albeit without Tua, in Buffalo was a learning experience, and this year, he'll have more experience under his belt, albeit only one game. But I also like the fact that this is a revenge game for the Dolphins since they played the Kansas City Chiefs earlier this season. Remember, that was that game back in Germany. It went down to the wire. They lost that game, left a bitter taste in the Dolphins' mouth, and hopefully Mike McDaniel and company can use that as fuel and motivation. All right, I want to thank everybody for tuning in and remind you, if you like what you see, we've got a video for you every single day, as well as a Dolphins watch party for the game against Kansas City. You will not want to miss that, so make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's nothing like Dolphins Today, largest Dolphins community on YouTube. Don't miss a thing around the Aqua and Orange. Subscribe to the channel, plus it's 100% free. And if you don't love it, you can unsubscribe, even though it would break my heart. But love you guys and appreciate you tuning in to Dolphins Today.